Buildings that line Baltimore streets aren't just a city problem. Foreclosure bleeds into the suburbs. Maryland actually has the third highest foreclosure rate in the country.
Yeah, it's a big problem, and it's tough on homeowners, including the ones living right next door to the blighted properties. ABC 2 News' Mallory Safaste tells us tonight about a neighbor's struggle to get a big bank to fill in an empty shell of a home.
The person next door defaults on their home payments, they abandon their property or forfeit it, the house is foreclosed and forgotten. The weeds grow, the paint chips, the mold slowly spreads, and the blight creeps into your life.
Right, and you can see where the siding is almost completely gone here.
David Zinner is like the pseudo-manager of the foreclosed property next door. He's nagged the management company about cutting the grass, repairing the roof, replacing a collapsed deck.
Things only got repaired because we kept, hounding them and urging them to fix things up.
He's incessant because if he doesn't push them to keep up the place, he feels no one will.
We care about how the neighborhood looks. We care what happens, but Bank of America doesn't seem to care.
According to property records, Bank of America is the owner of the foreclosed home. They officially took over in April of 2016, but Zinner says this home has sat vacant since 2015. And even now that the bank has taken over, this property still sits with minimal improvements and no for sale sign.
The house has been sitting empty for 2.5 years. And we know that the average sale time in Columbia varies at most 80 days at the maximum, maybe as little as 40 days and sometimes. So they are either totally incompetent or they're just ignoring what's going on.
Bank of America lists 19 foreclosed homes for sale on their site. The house in Columbia is not one of them. Living in a good neighborhood and next to a property that's empty is a problem plaguing many others in the state.
Especially if they're communities where the houses are very close together. You have a torrential rain, the sump pump doesn't work, so the basement floods, and it ends up flooding into other people's homes.
State Delegate Marianne Lasanti heard it a lot in Harford County. She then looked into the foreclosure process and saw red tape that stretched days, months, and years.
A foreclosure takes sometimes 2 to 5 years. So during that time, nobody knows who owns the property. So it may be abandoned and sit there without knowledge of a property owner. This bill changes that.
The governor signed the bill this year requiring the lien holder to add the foreclosed property owner's name to the statewide registry sooner. And it gives homeowners access to that information.
So that now local governments will have the tool to be able to work with you to bring these properties up to code so that they aren't a blight on your neighborhood.
Another new law effective this year speeds up some of the processes so that blatantly abandoned homes see new life sooner.
So now what this law does, there's 11 tests that it has to go through to prove that the property is abandoned and vacant. And if those tests are passed, then you won't have to go through the mediation process, all the other processes that usually take so long for the property to be foreclosed.
The bills don't solve all of Zinner's problems. He's still waiting to see a moving truck. However, it gives him an outlet to keep the home next door from falling into complete disrepair.
And we don't understand why they're just not moving on it.
In Howard County, Mallory Safaste, ABC 2 News.